Hello, everybody. Welcome to the FactoryBot track on Open Summit 2024. We're excited to have you here. I'm Sarah Lima. Can you introduce yourself, Silumesii?
Yeah, my name is Silumesii Maboshe.
Yeah, so you're a developer at thoughtbot, and we're glad to have you here with us today. And I'm going to start by talking a little bit about FactoryBot. Please bear with me, as today is my first time streaming. Share screen. Okay, please let me know if, at stage. Hello, so let's start by talking about FactoryBot. So FactoryBot is a fixtures replacement library with a straightforward definition syntax and support for multiple build strategies. So this is one of the libraries that me and Silumesii maintain, and we also maintain FactoryBot Rails, which integrates FactoryBot in Rails applications. We are the two thoughtbot maintainers for these two libraries, and I'm going to start by showing you an example usage. Let me open the app first. Projects, thoughtbot. Okay. Let's take a look at one of the model specs in this application, the user spec, and we're able to create objects with the create method from FactoryBot just by calling the create method and then the name of a factory. And then we can pass the attributes we want to set on this object. For instance, an email. What else? Password or any other attributes we want for this model. Let me show you also the factory that I think we should have that in the factories user. So that's how we define the user factory. We use the FactoryBot.define syntax and then factory user, and then we set all of the attributes. These are going to be our default attributes. Let's go back to the presentation. This is a small quick example on how can we use FactoryBot. So moving on to how to contribute to FactoryBot. We have this documentation on our repo on how to contribute. Do you want to add something, Silumesii?
Yeah, sorry, Sarah. Are you able to increase the font size a little bit?
Sure. Thank you. Does that help?
Thank you. Yes.
Awesome. So yes, we love pull requests from anybody, and me and Silumesii are very new to maintaining open source projects. So any help from the community, it's always welcome. So a few examples on how you can contribute. You can contribute by using pre-release versions, beta versions, alpha versions, reporting bugs, suggesting new features, writing, improving, editing documentation, writing specifications, also sending pull requests, writing code, no patches too small, any bug fix, any type of fix, comments is always welcome. Refactoring code is also welcome, and closing issues when you think they are not relevant. Reviewing patches is also a great way to contribute. So we use GitHub to track bugs and features, and when you submit an issue or feature request, make sure that we already don't have one for that. And when submitting a bug report, a reproduction script, any details are also Okay, I had a small problem with my mic, but hopefully my audio is still okay.
We can still hear you. Yes, thanks.
Okay. I think that's it. Would you like to add anything about contributing, Silumesii?
Yeah. So we are. If this is going to be your first time, you're more than welcome to reach out, and we'll kind of help you along the way. We're learning, and so we'd like to be able to learn with you as well.
Yeah. So I was just checking the chat, people asking up to increase the font size. I'm sorry about that. I'm gonna try to keep an eye on the chat more, and hopefully it was still okay to read what I had here. But we are gonna talk in that much more in the future, so we can just come back to the factory usage examples. All right, that's a little bit about how to contribute to FactoryBot. Hopefully we'll be able to contribute together here on these sessions, but you're also welcome to send your PRs and ask us on Discord to review them. So note that currently FactoryBot is mostly on maintenance mode. So me and Silumesii are mostly focused on keeping the library up to date with new Ruby and Rails versions. We are not actively working on new features, but we are happy to review and help other folks with their feature requests. That's what I had for the introductions. So now we can dive right into the co-working session. What do you think, Silumesii?
Let's do it. But maybe do we want to see if anyone has any questions at this point?
Yeah, sure. Let me see the chat. Okay, good question. Thank you, Harriet. Let's go back to the factory. So here we have our file called user.rb. So Harry's question was that they thought that the standard was to have a factory file name as a plural. It's been a while since I have not been working with Rails, so I'm gonna ask Silumesii to answer that.
Yes, Harriet, thanks for the question. So the convention for factories is to use the singular of the model name. So yes, you're right. The convention in Rails for models would be to use the plural, but for the factory, we use the singular. I hope that helps.
For models, we actually also use this singular. I think you're talking about the controller.
That's the one. Sorry.
That's controller.
Yeah.
Yes.
There we go.
Does that make sense to you? Let us know in the chat. Any other questions? I can talk a little bit more about other features that FactoryBot has. I think traits are a very important feature. So we may want to have specific types of users that need specific default attributes. So for instance, if we have a client user and we want to set their attribute access level to client, we can define a trait, and then all of these attributes here are going to be set on that object. So also works with associations. So if we want to have a person associated with our user, we can define, for instance, a trait called with person. And then just by calling person directly, that's going to make our object have an association with person. I think in this case, I don't recall correctly, but we may need person to also have a factory defined. So like that here. We have here factory person, then calling person directly here is gonna allow us to have that object. So let's see an example usage here. Let's see if we have create user client. Yes. So we can say client user equals create user and then our trait client. We have a few interesting features as well, like sequence. So in here, every time a user object is created, we'll iterate, we'll add a number here. So we'll have like user 1, user 2, etc. I think that's pretty much it with the hat plan of an overview, but I'm pretty sure there are other very interesting features to talk about FactoryBot. Let me see the chat again. Okay, good question again about maintenance mode. Silumesii answered on the chat, but I'm gonna mention here as well. Like Silumesii said, we as maintainers are prioritizing making sure that FactoryBot is up to date with Rails and Ruby versions, but we are always happy to help with submissions from the community. Any other questions? Okay, feel free to leave questions and we'll get to it later. I think we can start by reviewing our issues now. Okay, I think that font size is okay. So what?
Sorry, I was just saying this looks good. Thank you. The font size looks good.
All right, so one issue I had planned that we can just like start very simple. Not an issue, but a pull request. This one here. So our colleague submitted a change to our documentation to the getting started ND file. Then they say that if we follow the documentation, we get an error, initialize constant FactoryBot, because FactoryBot gem has not been loaded yet. So the suggestion is to require FactoryBot to fix the issue. Does that make sense to you, Silumesii? The submission itself.
So was the require missing from the beginning? Just trying to see what wasn't an issue earlier.
Yeah, let's see the files change. On getting started, on the session, configure your test suite, RSpec. Okay, so if you're using RSpec, you can use FactoryBot. You can add the configuration to factorybot.rb and be sure to require the file and Rails helper. All right. I don't think we really need that require, but we can try to follow the step-by-step in a new application and see if that really is the case. If it is, we'll just merge it. If not, we can close the PR. And take a look as well here on the Rails helper file. So they're saying that they've required support /FactoryBot. They did everything here on FactoryBot, and then they still got the error. So yeah, to be very friendly with everyone, beginners on programming, I'm gonna just do that step by step. I'm gonna open an application here. I have many tabs open. Let me stop sharing, and then I'm gonna share again with the right app. Okay. at this stage. So yeah, I've just ran Rails new FactoryBot tutorial to create a new Rails application.
Are you able to bump your font size in the editor again?
Thank you for reminding me. I'm gonna open a new terminal, hide everything here. Then we're gonna install FactoryBot. I think I'm gonna have to follow the setup instructions step by step. So let's add the, okay, we can use FactoryBot directly in our gem file. So let's add it here. So after adding gem to the gem file, we have to install. Come on. What's the next step? We'll have to add this line to our spec. Okay, I guess that means that we actually have to have our spec as well installed in our app, right? This is a very blank new application, so we don't have our spec yet. So after installing that, I'll be installing our spec. So I can just add gem our spec and install that again. And I'm gonna follow the RSpec instructions to set up as well. Should I add RSpec directly or do I add RSpec Rails? I think I should add RSpec Rails, right?
I think it's RSpec Rails, yes.
It's been a while since I've started a new application. Okay, let's run bundle again. And I need to see the instructions on how to, do I have to configure, install anything when getting started with RSpec? Let's see.
There should be a generator.
Let's look for generators. So add, okay, I actually should have added RSpec and FactoryBot as well on the development and task groups, but we are only on a task app, so don't do that on your production apps. But for our purpose here, this is gonna work well. So our gem installing. Okay, installed, and then yeah, we can use Rails generate our spec install. Hopefully everything is gonna work well today. Oh, thanks, Christopher, for your help there on the chat. So yes, we have installed our spec. Do we need anything else? I don't think so, right? So, okay, we have FactoryBot, we have our spec. Then we can go right away to the RSpec configure, spec.configure, to the Rails helper, and add configure.include. Okay. Added, and from what our contributor has said, we should get an error. I think they meant that when we maybe run the RSpec suite. So let's see if running RSpec will yield any error. We don't see any errors. Am I missing anything here from their?
I can't see anything different, but do we know the version number by any chance?
Good question. So yeah, that's an example of how good thorough submission of a pull request or issue is important, that you define all of the details, for instance, the version of the library you're trying to run. So we don't know, so that makes it very hard to help. So I'm just gonna add a comment there. What do you think, Silumesii?
Yeah, I think that's a good
Try
idea.
anything else. Okay, so I'm gonna add the message. Hi, I was not able to reproduce your issue. Let's see the chat as well. Okay, they're asking for a link to the PR. Okay,
So,
thank you, Christoph. I was not able to reproduce your issue. Follow the README works well for me. Can you add more details, like what version are you using? Version of FactoryBot. So let's see if there are any other suggestions on the chat. Good one from Todd. How many tests are in the test project? I didn't see this issue until I had a switch of acceptance and unit test written out. I can't remember how much more than it was. Okay. I think then let's try adding a test. So we can go to spec. We don't have any tests here. So hopefully let's try to create a user spec. Let's see. How can I create a very basic test? Let's just say example and true equals true, a very basic expectation. Expect true equal true. Let's see if that gives us any other result. Okay, we see that that's passing. Let's see if that's not a false positive, and this one should fail now. Yeah, so our expectation is working correctly. Do you have any other? Okay, so the example is maybe that using FactoryBot in the test yields the problem. So we should use the FactoryBot. Oh, we actually have to create the factory first, right? So we don't have the factories folder here. Let's create one. Factories. And then let's say we have our user.rb factory.
nice.
Then since we don't actually have a user class, I think we have to do something here to make our factory work.
There's I think a useful suggestion from Todd about using build user, and then that might trigger the.
Okay, so just I think that's gonna yield an error, but let's try step by step. Yeah, initialize constant. So I think there should be a way to define a class. So if we just create a model like user.rb and then class user, then that may work. Okay, we're so to failing. Let's see if user is not new. Not to new. I'm trying to see the chat and the code at the same time.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's tough.
so if there's not new, and then everything, it seems like the factory is working. Let me see if anyone else has suggestions on trying to reproduce the problem.
Mm-hmm.
No one, that's a great user. Yes. Think. How about adding an additional question for the contributor? That's a good one.
That's a very good one. Yep.
Pretty sure you have added. Think from their description. They didn't say that they added the gem. So not adding the gem may have been the issue. Live coding and monitoring a chat is a heroic feat. Thank you very much. It's my first time, so I think I'm doing okay.
I think you're doing more than okay.
Thank you. Did you add the gem to the gem file? Any other suggestions or things to ask? And ran bundle. Okay, I think that's pretty much it. We don't want to spend a lot of time on these as well. That's a very basic documentation thing. So maybe we can work on other things. It seems like people are very happy to help here on the chat. So we may move on to other more challenging PRs then. What do you think?
Sounds good, and we really appreciate the help. Thanks, everyone. That's chiming in the comments.
Yeah.
Harriet has asked, do we need to ask them exactly what they are doing when the error is thrown out too?
Oh, good one. Thanks, Silumesii, for having that on the screen. So, Harriet, do you think you'd be willing to add a comment? I would love for you to do that. If you do, I'll be very happy. Okay, I'm going to move on and let you decide whether or not you want to add that comment. Okay, awesome. Thank you. You're going to add that. Okay, Silumesii, can we rotate? I can navigate and then you can drive for a moment.
Sounds good. So let me open up my GitHub. Sorry, FactoryBot. Oops.
We can start by just reviewing issues for now.
Yeah, it's just making sure that I have GitHub open.
If you like, I can share for a little while more.
Okay. Yeah. Great.
Setup. Okay.
I appreciate that. Yeah, that would help a lot. Thank you.
Entire screen. Okay, I'm back. So I'm gonna ask the chat, is there any issues that anybody here has seen or they have opened they would like us to take a look at? Please let us know and we can prioritize them. In the meantime,
Is the font size okay for everyone? It looks okay for me, but just checking for everyone else.
you're gonna have to keep asking me that because I'm gonna keep forgetting. I'm sorry.
No problem. I'll be the font size police.
So CodeMeister has mentioned the context helpers for callbacks. context helpers. I saw that issue as well. I cannot find it now. There's maybe that's the PR, right?
I think it might be.
No PR is named that. Do you want to pull requests? Okay.
Thanks, CodeMeister.
Do you see it here? I cannot find it. Maybe oh yeah, it's here, right on my face. So that's a PR from CodeMeister. So let's take a look at it. So, do you wanna take over for a while, Silumesii?
Let's do it.
Sharing.
Do you need me to share, or are you still comfortable to share?
Your choice.
Okay. CodeMeister, let me see. Am I able to, let me, I hope I can do this. Okay. Kindly confirm with me if this is the right one.
Yeah, I think so.
1695. Okay, let's have a look. 1695. And if you don't mind increasing the font size.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Is that better?
That is better, yes. But I think I might do well to open it on my side as well. So context helpers for callbacks. Okay. Okay, so this was submitted in September. Thanks, CodeMeister. So this one fixes two issues, and context is provided as a block parameter in callbacks. This pull request adds some helper methods to context, making it easier to detect the strategy used.
I'm still sharing my screen. Would you like to share yours?
Sure. Yeah, let me do that. Thank you. And let me increase the font size. Hoping that's okay. Hoping that's readable for everyone. Yeah. Thank you. Right. So we're up here. So this pull request adds some helper methods to context, making it easier to detect the strategy used and identify which attributes were defined by the user or factory. Methods included are strategy, defined attributes, user-defined attributes, and factory-defined attributes. All can be queried. Okay, nice. Nice. Although the evaluated class is marked at API private, being included as a callback parameter means users are already accessing it. Making it easier to use can only be a good thing. Tests and documentation added. Thank you. And just want to give a shout out and a high five to CodeMeister. Thanks. This is a useful way to submit a pull request with all the examples and things like this. We really appreciate it. All right, so we've updated the summary to say we've added callback parameters. We've added this to the docs as well. Fantastic. So callbacks can have 0 parameters, 0, 1, or 2. Callbacks with a single parameter receive the factory. With two parameters, callbacks receive both the factory instance and the context. And the context parameter provides access to the environment.
Silumesii, can we take a look first at the issues that this PR fixes? I think we may understand the problem that's trying to fix better.
Excellent. So this is one of them.
If you go back to,
yeah. So this is 1694. Let me post this in the chat.
I can do it for you.
Thank you. So 1694 and 1649.
Yeah, let's just start with this one first. I think that's the most friendly to start with.
Nice. So problem this feature will solve. Like many, I use the same factory with multiple strategies based on the individual test. Critically, I want the same code executed on completion, regardless of the strategy used. With create also calling build, I need to determine in the after build block if I should execute the code or not. The strategy can be found with context instance variable get build strategy to symbol. But that required a degree of familiarity with the code that most users won't have. Agreed.
Can
Desired
you
solution.
can
Yes,
we
go ahead.
define what a strategy is for those that are not familiar? I have
Yes,
the
go ahead.
documentation here about build strategies. Can you open that?
Let me open the link.
I added to the chat.
Awesome. Sorry, whenever I hover over something in the chat, it doesn't let me select it. I'm not sure why. How do I grab the link?
You can
Apologies,
also,
everyone.
no worries. You can also go to the library on GitHub, and then there's the docs link there.
Let's do that. Okay, sorry, I'm doing this in a separate tab. One moment. So I'm going to the docs link. Maybe let me share this instead.
Pairing on tuple is much more friendly, right?
It really is. I'm guessing that's source and then strategies.
I meant, yeah, that one should work as well because we also have the FactoryBot book documentation. I think that would be good to read as
Okay,
well.
yeah.
So yes, if you go to the README and then scroll down to the FactoryBot book.
Mhm.
No, yeah, that works as well. Yeah. In the beginning of the file, yes, this one. If you click there, and then the first one on the left side, left, yeah, there's build strategies.
Mhm.
Okay, so yeah, I just wanted to give it an overview about build strategies. So here in our documentation, we say that we can construct our factories using one of the existing building strategies like build, create, attributes for, and build stubbed. So when we use create, for instance, we're actually going to create an object. And if we have like an active record object, an active record class, that's going to create uh, how can I explain that? Um, we're gonna have a new line added, a new object added, saved to our database, and if we just build, we're just gonna have that object saved in memory. So that's one way to put it. So yeah, just setting paving the path about like building strategies, so we can come back to the problem.
Nice. If you don't mind, I want to pause here because I remember when I was learning FactoryBot, this part used to trip me up quite a bit. So just want to pause just to see if anyone has questions on the build strategies. We'll give it a few seconds here. If you have a question about build strategies, please post it in the comments.
Good call. And we may not know how to answer because, as I said, we're pretty new maintainers, but we are learning with y'all.
All right, looks like there are no questions. So let's go back to the issue. So we were looking at build strategies. So hopefully now it makes sense what we're trying to do. So the different strategies being build, stub, and create. All right, so what we're saying is the strategy can be found with context, instance variable, build strategy to symbol, but that required a degree of familiarity with the code that most users won't have. So in a sense, what Codemaster is doing here for us is creating an easier way to be able to access the different strategies. So additional context, I'll do a pull request for this feature. What are you thinking, Sarah?
Taking, reading over and over again to take.
Yeah, that can only be a good thing. And I'll pause again in case.
Okay, so idea is to create a helper method. So that's what I'm gonna look for in the PR then.
Okay.
I think we can go there.
Let's go there.
Can we take a look again at the PR description? I think everything's gonna fit more into place.
Brilliant. Yeah.
There's another issue linked, Silumesii, so we may want to take a look at that.
Okay, let's take a look at 1649, which I think is in my tab here. Actually, if it was in my tab, let me open it up again. So it was 1694 and 1649. Let's have a look at 1649.
So we have a new issue here about exposing which keys were overridden by the user.
Sorry, am I sharing the right screen? Just checking.
No, I think you're sharing right.
Yeah, okay. Expose which keys were overridden by the user. Nice, yes.
So you're talking here about the context. I'm checking for documentation if we have a definition to read more about the context. I didn't find anything specific, so yeah, we can continue.
Okay. So share this tab instead. The context as passed to the various hooks does not tell us whether a key was overridden by the user when building, creating, or stubbing the object. This means we can't know whether a value is the default or intentionally set. Let's expose this on the context. It could be as simple as a list of keys set by the user.
Okay, we have some feedback from another user. They're saying that the list of keys already exposed.
Using the private undocumented method. Override names. Okay.
Can we scroll down a little bit to see any other comments? Okay, so the idea is to make it easier to check which keys were overridden.
And I'll share this link here, which is this one. And this is the private method, override names. Is it private? Just checking.
No, not private, right?
API private?
Guess we can come back to the PR now.
Let's do it. So we were here. Just checking if that gives us a bit more space and also increases the font. Okay, that's okay. Let me know if the font size is too small.
Yeah, can you increase a little bit?
Let's do that. Is that better? I could go, I think, one more.
It's good for me.
Nice. Thank you. What are we thinking?
I think maybe we can dive into the code again now, to the files changed.
Let's do it. And here and sorry, maybe fixed by. Here we go. So we've added documentation. Thank you for this. Thank you so much for this. And okay, here we go.
I think most of the changes are new, so using a different viewing method in GitHub may be more helpful to us, not using the side-by-side.
Okay.
Can you change that? Yeah.
Is this better?
Yeah.
Thanks.
So we're changing the docs.
Okay. So the code changes start here. Okay, is the strategy.
The bit on the callbacks parameters doc may be also helpful to us to read it out loud. Can you go back there?
Yes, I can.
Notation.
Callback.
Yeah. Strategy used.
Yes. So sometimes you have a factory that you both build and create in different tests, but always want the same code to run at the end. It's not as simple as adding both after build and after create callbacks, because after create also triggers the after build callback, so the code would be run twice. Checking for the strategy used can help skip the after build code when the strategy used is create.
I think that the first sentence there, like just using the after create is not enough. I think that captures very well the problem that we're trying to solve here. So I like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, go on.
Shall I continue from here?
Yeah, I think so.
Sounds good. So checking for the strategy used can help skip the after build code when the strategy used is create. And we're using, so checking for the strategy, right? So if the context strategy is build, we'll run the build, and then if not, we'll run the create.
Okay, so I want to ask if anyone on the chat sees an issue with that. Now, if we're using the create strategy, we'll not call the after build callback anymore.
So there's some feedback from Christoph.
Let me read it and then I can pin to the screen.
Thanks.
Okay, I think that's a point worth sharing. So I'm gonna show here on the screen. So there's a shout out to the PR, but we're wondering if the use case, does it justify the exposure of that information? they cannot think of one and never encounter problems in that way? Do you think there's a risk of encouraging developers to come up with adding unnecessary complexity to the factories by exposing such interface? Any other points, pro or con this PR? Be happy to share with the group. I'm also trying to think of ways that can be confusing to users if they expect the after build callback to be run and then they are not anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to highlight the answer if you don't mind. So
Perfect.
I mentioned that this is supposed to fix a real issue in a real project. Okay, shall we take a deeper look on the PR further than the description itself? Or would you like to do anything else?
Let's continue. I was just going to make a comment to say one of the things that I didn't expect about open source was exactly what Christoph and Codemeister are having in the conversation here. So once upon a time, when I was building applications for clients, it's kind of the expectation, in a sense, the circle around the work is very, very clear. But on open source projects, because so many people are using them internal to their work, making changes like this can be very, very obvious for one user, but can have an adverse effect for another. So I'm glad that we're having this conversation. Yeah, just a side thought. I didn't realize that open source could be such a world of new ways of approaching things. But yeah.
Yeah, 100%. And I wonder if other bigger projects like Rails, how much more challenging that is, right? So if you're following along and you're interested in helping, but you're maybe feeling like overwhelmed, that's okay. You can feel like that as well.
Yeah. All right, so we're looking at libFactoryBot. We're adding FactoryBot inquiry.
Yeah, that's a new file we are adding, right?
That's a new file, yeah.
So we're just requiring that.
And then we have libFactoryBot evaluator, where we're adding in overrides keys. Right, yes, we wanted to be able to expose the keys, right? Then we have the strategy.
So we are rescuing from no method error for custom strategies. Yes, that's a good thing to watch out for. We also have custom strategies other than our default ones.
That's right. Yeah.
We have defined attributes and we're extending FactoryBot inquiry. Attributes.
Okay. Sorry, should I continue to the next file?
Yeah, I like to understand the overall solution a bit more. Oh, and I want to encourage Christoph to add your comment on the PR as well, because our chat here is going to be erased. And then if you add your comment to the PR, we're going to have that saved, and other people can chime in as well.
All right, jumping over to inquiry.rb, which is a brand new file. Just going to missing.
A good comment here from Todd. I'm going to highlight and read it out loud. So the only concern they have is that this adds some complexity to the gem, which in turns imply more maintenance. It isn't clear to me how much value the community as a whole gets from the change. What's the thought framework for determining the volume of new features to add? And is there a trade-off between too many features versus maintenance costs? Very good point, Todd. That's I can start to answer that. And
Sure.
if we have other maintainers here on the chat, please chime in as well. So FactoryBot is a widely used gem, and we sure don't want to add any bugs to it, make people angry. And as we said, we will have to balance very well the value we're gonna get from this change if we ever want to merge it, because as I said, we have limited resources, right, to maintain this gem. So I think I'm gonna ask more people to chime in on the community overall if they think that this feature is helpful enough on their projects, because if it just helps one person, I don't think it's gonna be worth it to add to the library. Does that make sense, Silu, to you?
It does make excuse me. It does make sense, and this is nothing against the author of the PR. We just want to see what the community thinks and here as well. Yeah.
And I want to share that change with my teammates at thoughtbot as well, to see if they have any thoughts or if they've seen the need for that change on their projects. So yeah, I think maybe we can I was thinking we could move on and wait a little bit more for feedback on this PR.
That sounds like a plan. And I'm glad that you added this to our thread of discussion here, Codemeister, because it's highlighted a lot of things that we would be doing on a day-to-day basis. So it's, in a sense, it's a real exercise of what we would be doing, and having the benefit of you joining us doing it. So thank you very much for this.
Silumesii, we have a new question here on the chat. So if both strategies are triggering the after build callback, wouldn't you be able to use that callback to run your code for both strategies? So that's something that's covered on the documentation. Can you scroll down to answer that question?
Yes. I hope I'm sharing the right one. It was in the docs. Strategy used.
Yeah. So the author says it's not as simple as adding both after build and after create callbacks, because the after create also triggers the after build callback, so the code would be run twice. So we may have unintended consequences if we run the after build callback twice. Does that answer your question? I think it's Johan. Johan. Moving on, then we can see if they answer on the chat later.
Thank you.
Would you all like a break, a 5 minutes break maybe, before we start something else?
5 minutes break works for me.
Awesome. Then maybe we can just decide on the plan before going on the break.
Okay, yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah.
I thought about releasing FactoryBot Rails. I think that may be interesting to anyone that hasn't released Gen before. And it's been a while since we released a version of FactoryBot Rails. Before that, there is a suggestion in chat that I'm going to highlight. Would it be possible to add a small tag to the issues to encourage people with limited time to contribute? That's a wonderful idea. Yes, we can create a tag right now. Can we, Silumesii?
Let's do it. Yeah, let's create a new tag. So do we want to call it small?
We have a good first issue label already, so
Yeah. So sorry.
I think that's better than small. Does that work for you? Can you show that label Silumesii to us? I think if you click on labels.
Sorry, I'm used to seeing the labels. Labels. There we go. I'm used to using them inside of the PR. So we have
Good first issue.
Good first issue. Yeah.
So me and Silumesii have been working on triaging issues, and we will certainly keep in mind to add that label. However, for FactoryBot, I don't think there are many small issues or much beginner-friendly issues. But yeah, we'll do our best to keep in mind that. So coming back to our plan for after our break, does releasing FactoryBot Rails work for you?
That works for me. Hoping to see some comments from the chat, if that would be interesting for people who are on the call.
Yeah. Okay. So Harriet just clarified their comment about the labels on the chat. Okay, so let's take a break, and then we'll be back in 5 minutes.
Awesome.
Thank you.
See you
So
in 5.
Hello again.
Hello, hello, hello.
Okay, I'm ready. Let's see if we have any new comments on the chat.
I thought the strategy from Todd Morningstar on how to select how to select small PRs. I think the overall strategy sounds like a really clever one. I like it.
Do you want to share on the screen?
Yeah, let's do it.
Because Todd mentioned that small tasks are rare on open source projects, and their suggestion is to find one or two big things to work on, and work on PRs for about documentation, or find a gem that's not maintained to help there. I think that's a very good idea.
Mm-hmm.
All right, moving on then. Shall we start with releasing FactoryBot Rails?
Let's do it.
Can you share your screen and add to the stage?
So FactoryBot Rails. Let's share this one instead. So in case anyone is new to using FactoryBot, there's a FactoryBot gem and there's a FactoryBot Rails gem. I remember in my early days, I thought they were the same thing, but they're actually two separate repositories. Yeah, a small confusion I had. Hopefully none of you have the same one. All right. So with releasing a new one, do you need me to share my entire screen? Because we might jump into code here. Would that help? Or should we start on GitHub?
Your choice.
Okay, we'll start in GitHub then. So we're currently at 6.4.3. That's the latest one, which we released in 2023. And maybe it might be useful to have a look at the releases page, just so I guess we get familiar with what goes into a release when we're doing one. So as much as possible, we try to identify what has changed, and this is useful, especially for people who are maintaining, in case they don't want to jump and upgrade to this one. Sorry, the next latest one. We give them a bit of a walkthrough of what has changed with that particular release.
Yeah. Since we've released FactoryBot a couple of weeks ago, we are looking forward to release a version of this as well. And then the last one was last year, so it's been a while.
It's been a while, yeah. All right. Do we have our release? What was it? A release notes close by. I think maybe I can have it in a sub-tab. Do we have our release notes, that, like the steps that we take for a release?
Yeah.
Close by. Maybe I could share those.
For you. I'm looking to find. I cannot find it easily, but I'm looking.
Thanks. I think the last time I might have shared it in the open source channel on Slack, but I can't remember. I'm checking as well.
Yeah, we should write that blog post, right, about releasing open source gems. That's gonna be our to-do list.
Yeah. If it helps no one else, it would definitely help me. I can't find ours, but shall I use the one that we have from Hexadevs?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay, let me share this in the chat. So Hexdevs is actually by another Sarah who happens to work at thoughtbot, and yeah.
Stephanie, right?
Sorry.
Stephanie, you mean?
Sorry, not another Sarah. Stephanie.
Yeah, no.
Sorry, Stephanie. Another thoughtbot named Stephanie. Sorry. Thanks for that. Another thoughtbot named Stephanie, who's at yeah. So maybe let me share this. And we've used this in the past. I'm not sure why we can't. I can't seem to find the one we used last time. But we've used this in the past as a guide to release gems. I think the last time we used it, we ran into some issues. So we're hoping to be able to sidestep some of those, having experienced it before. So it starts in GitHub. So we're going to draft a release using the GitHub interface. But let me pause here in case there are any comments.
No, I am keeping an eye on the chat.
Thank you. All right, let me open up the GitHub interface. So we're going to start by drafting a release. So in the repository, go to the releases page and create a new one. So that's the giant button that we have here, draft a new release.
Okay.
And then click on generate release notes. Sorry, I'm not sure if it will it help if I go back and forth? Maybe that will help.
I can try to drive you, to navigate you. Let me just get my tabs straight.
That'd be amazing. Thank you.
So we are gonna fill in the release title. I'm trying to find what's the next version. So the last version was 6.4.3. So that one should be 6.4.4.
Awesome.
That will be the release title. And then we are going to edit the generated release notes as we see fit. I'm going to hide here the comment. So we're supposed to see the release notes. Is the generate release notes deactivated?
It's deactivated, and I think it's because we don't have a tag yet for it.
Yes.
Yeah. So let's create 6.4.4.
Yeah.
Let's do it. And looks like the convention is to use a V.
Mm-hmm.
So
Looks like it.
And we'll generate the release notes. All right. So let me preview this just to make it easier to read. What was our decision about Dependabot updates last time? Do we want to include them?
I think we may want to include them because they may. I think maybe important for people to know about them. So yeah, let's just keep it. It doesn't hurt, right?
Okay. I think these were more cleanup PRs than anything. I'd be happy to remove these, but
Do it.
your feedback is welcome. Yeah. So remove depend about the schedule. We'll remove this one, and we'll remove this one. And maybe just for some context why we're removing it, we have made those changes to the project, but they don't affect the actual code. So it was more a cleanup, some cleanup PRs, which don't affect how FactoryBot will interact with the application that someone's going to be importing them into.
Yeah, so the first one called dynamic readme reusable workflow, that's also not important to our users. So I would say remove that.
Nice. So let's see how it looks now. Update CI. Update.
Second one as well. That's also about the dynamic workflow.
Nice.
So actually there are no changes that would actually affect our users, maybe the dependencies. So question, should we actually bump FactoryBot first? Oh yeah, that it's there. Okay, I didn't see that. Okay, so we are bumping FactoryBot, and that will allow our users to use that version. Okay, I think that's it. Can move on.
All right, and then the next step, I think this is where I have a feeling this is the step that tripped me up the last time. After we generate the notes.
So is there save draft? I think save draft is what we do.
Yeah.
So the next step is creating a new branch to bump the jump version.
So
all right,
let me
we want to change the version.rb file. So we want to go to the code editor, check out our main branch, and then create a new one.
All right. One moment while I set things up here in the background. I'm just opening up my terminal and making sure the font size is okay. Actually, maybe let me clean up my tabs as well. Okay, let me share my entire screen.
In a quick time check, we have 40 minutes, around 40 minutes to finish until our break. I can use that time to ask people to fill in the form for the third swag. Find the link here.
Nice. Would you like me to paste that in right away?
Yeah, please.
Or...
we have it offhand?
Yeah. So if you'd like to win a t-shirt, there's your link. So the t-shirts, the winner will be announced at the end of ThoughtBot Summit today.
Actually, we can do the draw already at the end. We don't, have to wait because people are not going to be here, right? Even at the end of the day, because we're hosting that track for the people in the Americas time zones as well. So we can do the draw.
Nice.
I'm going to add the link to the Discord channel as well, if you want to have it there.
Brilliant. Thank you. Sorry, we're in FactoryBot Rails, not FactoryBot. All right. So we want to create a new branch. Is that right?
I was muted.
Okay.
Yes, want to create a new branch. That's
Right.
going to be bump FactoryBot Rails to 6.5.5. Is it? Let me see. 4.4 actually. That's the new version.
6.4.4.
You're not sharing your screen, is that right?
Sorry, I thought I was. I was convinced. I was absolutely certain that I was. Sorry. Is this okay?
Yes.
Awesome. All right.
We're getting the branch to, yeah, that's correct.
Nice. And this is not, it's not a direct Git command, but I use a thoughtbot library called dot files, and this gets added as a convenience for us to create a local and remote repository branch in one step.
Cool. So we can go now to the version.rb file in our repo.
All right, let's code. I'll open this in a full screen as well. Oops. And we want to go to version.rb.
Yes.
Oops. Version. FactoryBot Rails. Why don't I have a version file?
Oh, we don't have a version.rb.
This one might be in. What is it? So the gem file. Okay, let's have a look at. Bot version. FactoryBot version.
We can also start then while we figure that out with the news.md file. We want to add the changelog to that file as well, right?
Sorry, I missed that.
I can take a look at that for you, the version.rb thing, and then in the meantime, you can edit the news.md file and add the changelog.
News.md. Thank you.
Yeah. And you can copy
So
the
we'll
changelog.
grab that. We'll grab that from. Sorry, this one here.
Actually, the news.md file seems to be a very straightforward file, more than even our changelog. So we may just add that we've changed our FactoryBot dependency to the new version.
Remind me today's date. I know it's October. Actually, I should remember this date very, very well because our Zambia's celebrated Independence Day yesterday, so I should know that today's the 25th. Okay, that's right. And how did we want to word it? So updated FactoryBot.
Yeah, FactoryBot dependency to, what is it? What's a new version?
I think it's
Checking.
yeah. Okay, just checking the conventions we're using in the text file as well. So it looks like we're using changed instead of updated.
I think this file is not consistent, but yeah, we can use that changed prefix.
Oh, I see. I see.
So yeah, the latest FactoryBot version is 6.5.0.
Changed. Use FactoryBot 6.5.0. How's that?
Yeah.
Yes. So save that. Oh no, sorry. I have formatting automatically done when I save. Okay, Let me edit this in something that doesn't do formatting.
What's the problem with that?
So it automatically changes my stars to dashes on autosave. So it formats automatically. So I want to make sure I'm using an editor which won't do the formatting, just so that we don't have an overly large diff. Let me save this. Sorry. Let's do this. Let's do this. Yes. And we want this version. I want to save this one. Okay.
How about saying bump FactoryBot to 6.5 instead?
Nice. I like that.
Okay. So next we're gonna go to the GemSpec, FactoryBot.GemSpec. Yeah, we have that releasing that .md file that's coming handy. Okay, so we're gonna move that to the version in line 3 to 644. Yeah.
Nice.
Next up, we'll run Bundle.
Let's run bundle install.
Oh, we may need to update the FactoryBot dependency as well and the GemSpec if we go back there.
Good catch. Thank you. So that's this one here.
Yeah. So it says
6.5.
yeah. Good.
So let's bundle that.
So we've updated the news. I like to make a change to the releasing MD as well because it's supposed to be a order list, but it's all the items start with a number 1. So
Releasing.
Can you increase your font size? Yes, thanks. Yeah, so you have all of the ones there in the beginning. So can you update that? So 1 and then 2, 3.
Nice. I'm sure there's a better way to do this, but I'll do it manually for now. 7, 8. Did I miss any numbers? I'm notorious for missing numbers.
You're good.
Thank you.
Anything else we want to change there? I think that's good. Yeah. So we can save and commit now.
Okay, so do git status. Let's add patch. That looks right to me.
Yes.
That's yeah, 6.5. Yeah. And we bump to 6.5. We change the numbering. We bump to 6.4.4. And we added FactoryBot 6.5 as a runtime dependency. Okay.
All right. So next up, we can commit and we can add the tag CI skip.
Right. Yes.
Don't have any code changes, just documentation changes.
Is it with a dash? I don't.
In the releasing documentation, it's all lowercase and a space between.
Yes. Like this?
Yeah, and then we can just add that in the end of the commit message.
Okay. Thanks.
So we want to mention like release 6 dot. Oh my God, I keep forgetting what's the new version. I think it's 4.4, right? Yeah.
644. Yeah.
Okay, I think that's good.
All right.
Save, and then next step.
Do I push at this point?
I'm reading.
Thank you.
So the release.md mentions tagging the release, but we have a tag already, right?
We do on GitHub, but I don't have the tag locally, I don't think. I don't have 644 locally, but we do have it on GitHub.
Would git pull / minus tags get the new tags?
Would that be on? Yeah, I think it will. Double minus?
Yeah. I don't know if that works. It just looks like it should. Okay, up to date. Can you list the tags again? Just make sure.
Does someone in the comments have a suggestion here?
No.
How I think about tags? Okay.
No. I'm reading that.
Yeah. Take your time.
Okay. We can do. How about git checkout tags / and then the tag we've created before? That's gonna be 644 v644. So yes, like that, and then minus b, and then the tag name again, b.
Minus. All right. Okay. Okay. So to check out the tag and create a branch.
v6. Yes.
Nice.
Awesome. That's it. Then that's gonna be that's gonna check out the tag, but that's not working. Have you run git fetch? I don't know if the fact that you only saved that draft on GitHub affects.
Right. You're right. We haven't published it. Or should that make a difference? What have we done? So let me save the draft again. So this is release. So save. And did that create?
No, that doesn't create the tag. So I think we can do then. Can you go back to the terminal?
Yes.
If we do git tag -s, then v644. Yeah. And then git push and git push tags. What happened? Didn't see.
This was so I think I might have ended the command too early. Let me exit out of here.
Wrong branch. Someone mentioned, are we on main?
I was earlier, but not anymore. This is my Vim skills. Let's try this again. So it's
Oh, we are on.
We're on.
Go back to the
our branch.
Yeah, the branch we had previously.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, thank you, Christoph. Yeah, so we're gonna try to create a tag. I think that works. Okay, if you save that, I don't think we need a description message. So no tag message. What if you just repeat the tag name?
Okay. So
next time you release that, did you just use the GitHub UI to create a tag?
Yes. So I used this one here. Oh, right. So it's going to create the new tag on publish. So
okay.
Should I create a separate branch and then come back? Oh, sorry, a separate tag and then come back?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking now. I mean, on the terminal.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. Got it.
To finish that, yeah, we can just repeat the message, the tag name.
Mm-hmm. Like that?
Yeah.
And well,
Problems.
Yeah. I think my fingers are forgetting where my shortcuts are. There we go. There we go.
Awesome. So pushing, git push, and git push minus tags should work this time.
Like that.
Git push and git push minus tags. That's what the tutorial says. I don't know if there's a difference between pushing before and then pushing again with the tags.
Like this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's try then. Cool. Now we can maybe use our tag on GitHub.
I think we can. 644. Where was I? Here. Let's refresh. Yes, we can.
Yeah. Can you go back to the draft release?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now searching for the tag should work, right?
Searching for the tag should work. I'm thinking about reloading the page just to see.
Okay, that works.
Let's reload. This is a draft one we see. Yeah.
Discard.
We've got our 64. And then I'll update our notes. Update.
Awesome. So on the releasing MD, the file, it mentions 2 new steps, gen build and gen push. So that's gonna be pushing to the Ruby gems, right? Have you done that, FactoryBot?
I did that for FactoryBot, yes. We might need to.
Can you check the releasing.mid file?
Yes. That's for FactoryBot?
No, here on FactoryBot Rails.
FactoryBot Rails, okay. the release MD.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm talking about the 6th step.
I see.
Just checking if this process is any different from what you know before.
No, this looks consistent. So get gem build and then gem push. Yes, this looks consistent with what we've done before.
Okay, let's try to run that.
So let's gem build. Warning. Description and summary identical. Open energy.
What about the entire maybe?
Sorry?
Description and summary. Description. Oh, okay. It's talking about the gem spec file. We have the same thing on summary and on description, but that's been there for forever. So I think it's fine if we just ignore it for now. We can come back to it later.
Okay.
Okay, so it was just a warning.
Mhm.
Other warnings about dependencies. Title again. Okay. So next up would be gem push.
So this one, yeah, let's check push. This one, right? It didn't generate.
Instead of gem, instead of version, we should add the version.
That's right. Thank you. So that's going to be 644.
But I think we're gonna get the same error.
Yeah, because I don't think we have a.
Oh no! I think that's just because of the file. That yeah, just fixing the version should fix the problem.
Okay. So gem push FactoryBot Rails 6.4.4.
Yes, let's do that. And then next up would be coming back to the GitHub release.
Okay. I think I might need to jump into 1Password to get this. I'll stop sharing and then come back.
Okay. So next we'll come back to the GitHub release and yeah, that's pretty much it. Right on time, we have a few minutes to go to finish that.
All right, the OTP went through. And we have our successfully built gem. Let's check.
Can you share your screen again? Can I add to the stage?
Yeah, we can add it to the stage. Sorry. Let's just. There we go.
Cool. Awesome. Let's go back to the GitHub page then and finish the GitHub release. So we have the existing tag. We've added the changes. I think just publishing now should be enough.
Okay. And I wonder if we can check Ruby gems or if it's too soon. Yeah, there it is.
I think we missed one step. I think we haven't pushed to main, right?
We haven't pushed to main. You're right. You are right. So I guess I can merge the branch at this point, right?
Yes. I wonder if that should have been done before. If we get anything wrong, we can just do it again.
Okay. So merge branch is another, it's not a traditional Git method, command, but it's one of the ones that we're getting through dot files.
How about instead opening a PR?
Open PR?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So let's do it on the pull requests. So here?
Yeah.
Do we want to add a description, or is this fine?
We can get the changelog. Yeah. Can you get that?
Yes, I believe I can. This one here?
Yeah. No, the one that we generated in GitHub, right? I think that's more detailed.
I might need to get that from the branch itself.
Yeah, if we go to the repository, we can go to the tags. Yeah, there is the releases bit right below about.
Yeah.
Yeah, click on the release.
Okay.
Yeah, we can copy that. I think that's more detailed.
Put that in here.
Awesome.
Let's just preview that for changelog.
Looks good.
So, yeah, looks good. Okay, create a pull request.
We can create, we don't need to wait for CI because we don't have any code changes, right? And then we can merge.
Do you like to rebase and merge, or?
Is question merge is fine?
Question merge, okay.
Okay, we have a few minutes only left before our lunch break. So yeah, we can break now, and then in the afternoon we can see if we need to check if that release went fine. So if anyone in the chat has any problems, they want to test if the release went well, please let us know on Discord or after the break here back at the same StreamYard link. Any remarks before we break, Silumesii?
No remarks, but really appreciate everyone taking the time. Yeah, looking forward to the next session.
Yeah, that has been great. See you all soon. In what time is it that we'll be back? It's gonna be at 1 p.m. UTC. So that's 2 British time zone. All right. See you soon.